Yesterday, I spoke in a video concerning the death rate amongst the black and brown people, and how that death rate is about to increase. I mean, we're just gonna see we're gonna see a steady flow of the black and brown people dying, getting killed, or being murdered, or just killing each other. um, this this scripture here that I'm going to read, this scripture tells you exactly why we're going to be destroyed, why a great number of us will be destroyed. If you didn't watch the video, if you want to know why so many of us will be destroyed before the tribulation period, if you want to know why, you can go watch the video yesterday. But in the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verses 8 through 9, and I'm reading from the New King James Version, it says, "And it shall come to pass in all the land, says the Lord, that 2/3 in it shall be cut off and die." 2/3. "But 1/3 shall be left in it." And this is the Lord speaking. This is God speaking. "I will bring the 1/3 through the fire." And when he mentions fire, the fire means the tribulation period. He says fire because it's going to be a pretty terrible time. He says, "I will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested." You can Google it and look it up, and you can see how fire is used to refine silver, and how it is used to shape gold. And this is what the Lord is saying the tribulation period will do to 1/3 of the black and brown community, because this is his goal. "They will call on my name." See, this is the goal. This is the reason for the tribulation period. Because even though a lot of black and brown people claim to know the Lord, they don't. God knows. But that 1/3 that's going to go through, the reason why is because he says, "They will call on my name and I will answer them." Well, it's going to be bad. "I will say, this is my people," and each one will say, "The Lord is my God." That is the reason for the tribulation period. That is the reason why it has to be so bad, because God has to get a stiff-necked, hard-headed, stubborn people to submit to him, because he promised Abraham that he would bring the whole household of the whole household of Israel back into the promised land, which is the land of Israel where those fake Jews are. So that video that I made yesterday was basically just saying that the death rates, the death tolls are going to go up. If y'all think y'all seeing something with all these deaths now, y'all ain't seeing nothing. And the thing is, we don't know how far we are into the 2/3. He says 2/3 will be cut off and die. So we don't know if we just got a whole bunch more to die before that 2/3, or if we're kind of almost right at the 2/3. But 2/3 of the black and brown communities will die. Only 1/3 will go through the tribulation period. But this video here that it's a documentary, and I'm just going to let it play, and I'm just going to kind of talk through it a little bit, because, again, God warned me about the things that these people were doing. Back in 2019, he gave me a glimpse of it, and I began to tell people not to take the, let's just say, the medicine, the solution that they gave when they planned that COVID um, pandemic. You know, they came up with that that solution because they wanted to get the technology inside of the people. And the name of this documentary, it is called The Human Antenna. And these people are basically telling you what these people are about to do, what they're doing, and what they've been doing. And they're going to mention that I believe it's probably going to be one day next year that when they turn on that 6G, that's when the people will become antennas. They can control you, they can use you, and I know it sounds so crazy, but again, if these people are telling you what they're doing, at what point will you just stop and believe them? See, y'all not listening because you just love this world and you just want to enjoy your life and have fun, but it's going to be bad for you. The word of God says many in that day will seek death, and death is just going to walk right away from you because it's going to be so bad you're going to want to die and you can't die because of what they've done, because of what they've placed on the inside. And then they're going to mention that a lot of people who didn't take that medicine, if you will, that they still have some of these nanobots inside of them because they were spraying it in the air. I already made a video about these dust particles that they use. It's like nanobots. So they're saying they're putting it in the air, they're putting it in the food. I saw a video where they even putting it in the toothpaste. They're trying to get those nanobots on the inside so that they can control the people. And I'm going to probably break it down because I know it probably won't fit in one post. So I put a portion of it in the first original post, and then I put the other little parts of the video in the comment sections. So if you all are interested in knowing what these people have done to you, what they're doing to you, and what they plan on doing to the human population. Now see, with that solution to COVID, this is for the human population all over the world. You notice worldwide, all of them had the same remedy to take that stuff. So again, you all don't have to believe it, but if you want to know the plans that these people have, let them tell you. So I'm going to start the video. I'll just stop it and say a few things at times, but I'm going to break it down in maybe like 5 little short video clips. Here it is.
Everyone who served our country should be able to.
It's going to have commercials, so just ignore the commercials.
0% down payments for
I
Rocket
do.
Mortgage. See if you qualify at rocketmortgage.com.
Of the world population over the centuries has been marked by significant changes, with periods of slow growth followed by rapid expansion. For most of human history, the population grew very slowly, with estimates suggesting that around 12,000 years ago, there were only 4 million people worldwide. The population reached 1 billion around 1800, and it took until the early 19th century for the population to cross this threshold. The 20th century saw an unprecedented increase in population, with the global population more than quadrupling from 1.65 billion in 1900 to 6 billion in 2000. With a small global population, the mind virus may not have been that obvious. But with the Earth populated with large swathes of humans, the chaotic energies have become obvious. All the more as a result of digital technology, which is moving humanity further and further away from its essence as spiritual beings having a temporary human experience.
I've been warning for decades now about the plan to change the nature of the human body to a much more synthetic state.
Health Organization declared a COVID-19 pandemic outbreak on the 11th of March 2020, causing severe social and economic disruption around the world, including the largest global recession since the Great Depression.
Good morning, Becky. This is the news that we've been waiting to hear. Pfizer and BioNTech reporting the first results from their phase 3 vaccine trial, saying that in this interim look, the vaccine showed to be more than 90% effective in preventing COVID-19 cases.
That was a lie.
They also say no serious safety concerns were observed in the trial so far.
According to experts, the COVID-19 vaccine would lessen the severity of the disease by teaching the immune system to recognize and fight the virus that caused it.
They were all in on it. That's why I say don't watch television. This is how they brainwash you.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor, an actual medical doctor.
I've practiced medicine for 21 years.
I spent 4 years in undergraduate school, then 4 years in medical school,
and then another 5 years as a resident in emergency medicine.
Get the vaccine.
Get the vaccine.
just get the vaccine.
Roll up and get the vaccine.
One of the things these COVID vaccines are supposed to contain is graphene. And graphene not only is a superconductor of electricity, and how does the brain communicate and the body communicate with itself through electrical means, it's also an amplifier of electromagnetism in the body. So if you've got graphene in the body, then if you come into contact with an electromagnetic field, that field will impact on the body, will be...
I want to stop it there. During COVID, while they had everybody shut down, they put up those quote unquote cell phone towers. Those were not cell phone towers. Those towers are going to be used when they turn on 6G.
very, very significantly magnified.
Many doctors and nurses, seeing the harm their patients suffered from receiving these vaccines, provided us with vials so we could conduct analysis. AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Sinopharm, and CanSino, we found more than 10 undeclared chemical elements. Among them were aluminum, copper, iron, manganese, platinum.
It feels and it's exactly like calamari. I've never seen anything like it though, prior to halfway through 2021, and the way that started, we was having trouble embalming people, and I thought the pump was knackered, and it wasn't the pump. And when we had a young lad in that had died,
I was told that one of my nephews, while he was on a walk doing some exercises, that he collapsed. And when they did get him to the hospital, I was told that his lungs were full of blood clots. My brother, who called me a conspiracy theorist because I told him don't take those vaccines. He took the vaccines and he had to have surgery on both of his legs. Thank God he was a diabetic, because he was trying to figure out, they were trying to figure out why his toes were turning so dark or whatever the case may be. And they found out that his legs were full of blood clots. And here, this funeral home director, he's describing what he's finding in the bodies, blood clots, because of that medication, if you will.
suddenly been given a post-mortem, and the family had asked us to embalm it. And as we've opened him up and gone to manually target, you can see it all hanging out of him.
Based on the fluorescence coming off the membrane of this construct, we're looking at a pegulated hydrogel and the contents within that, which is self-assembled into a rectangular biochip.
Did you hear that?
Foundationally graphene oxide.
I've seen people with Morgellons where they feel as though in kind of two places, like two dimensions, they feel bi-dimensional, you know, and they say, I don't understand this, what's happening? I said, well, you're becoming transhuman because the particles nowadays have an element of it's a metallic element, and it can actually switch dimensions. That's why it's really hard to heal Morgellons, because if you use chemicals or use things to try and detox it, it'll just switch out and disappear. And then when it feels safe, it'll come back.
Seeing a construct organization, here again, it can be a saline origin or it can be graphene origin, but here again, it's charge related, this assembly that takes place. It looks very complex, very much like biosensors. I'm not saying they are biosensors, but they can act as to be able to, based on our research, receive and transmit information. These are the biosensors that are made from a base of graphene. Here we're seeing it again. The discs that you're seeing, these are red blood cells, and you're seeing some particulates within these organizations, these rectangular organizations. You're seeing what appears to be graphene oxide.
People who have Morgellons, or now in quotes the COVID jab, they're on Bluetooth. You know, if you get your phone and you switch, you go into the settings, quiet.
Let me stop right here. He's going to mention that people that receive that medicine, if you will, people who receive that medicine, they actually have an ID on their phones because of the biosensors. Hence the name of the movie, Human Antennas. And I want to say another thing that they're going to mention in this film. They're going to promote some kind of medicine that I guess these doctors have come up with to detox people, to like get that stuff out of their bodies. I'm not sure how good that's going to work, but again, your only hope is Jesus Christ.
Complex thing on, but I've done it on mine. You go into settings and then go into developer mode. You can actually switch on unidentified Bluetooth devices. So if you switch that on, if you go into a store and people have had the vaccine, you're going to get just a list of numbers, coming up, which is the transmission from that person.
Favorite everyday electrolytes. Now at Target.
See, even with these commercials, all they do is keep you distracted, thinking about Christmas and all of this foolishness while these people are trying to kill you.
Carolyn Mansfield. I'm a naturopath. I've been a naturopath for the last 25 years. I've been working with a company called Masterpiece. The Masterpiece formula contains nanoclinoctylite zeolite, known as zeolite Z, in a mineral-rich C plasma solution. So zeolite Z carries a strong negative charge. As they travel through the body, they absorb positively charged toxins into their cage-like structure, attracting them like a magnet. There's been a lot of talk about humans emitting a MAC address, and there was the amazing study done by the Blue Truth documentary, Dr. Chavez.
Marzo a abril de 2021 empezamos a detectar magnetismo en el sitio de inoculación de las vacunas. Ese fue el primer hallazgo. Después, compañeros de los vacunados que no estaban vacunados empezaron a decir que también ellos tenían magnetismo en alguna parte de su cuerpo. Ante esa evidencia, nos hicimos de un medidor de frecuencias electromagnéticas y entonces empezamos a medir la radiofrecuencia del vacunado y del no vacunado. Nos llamó la atención que no nada más había un fenómeno magnético, sino que también estaban funcionando como una gran antena.
And also there was a French study run by scientists, and there was another study, a Spanish study. And what they were saying is that this nanochip, these nanochemicals or nanocompounds coming together self-assembling to form these nanochips have graphene oxide in them as well as other compounds. And this is what's giving out the signal. And we were thinking, well, if we were able to prove that Masterpiece removes graphene oxide and a lot of these other compounds that are shown to be part of this nanotechnology, then would we be able to, or would Masterpiece be able to dismantle this technology or remove these toxins so then people aren't emitting this MAC address any further?
We had some of our naysayers and trolls say, well, if Masterpiece can't turn off the Bluetooth signals, then I don't even want to hear about it.
Now, I don't know how true it is because I haven't looked it up. But what they're saying is that everybody that took the medication, that you have a MAC address. So you are Bluetooth compatible. That's wild. But this is what these people are doing. You are Bluetooth compatible. And what they're going to do with that 6G, you know how you maybe you pair a little speaker device. They're going to pair you all with that 6G technology. This is why you have a MAC address, those of you who took those VacuVax.
My name is Monte Pablo, but my friends and people know me as Manu. I got interested in this project for about 2-3 years ago when I started seeing these unknown devices, and there's a lot of history going on.
I had 2 COVID vaccinations, and I think since the second COVID vaccine, it disrupted my menstrual cycles. That's kind of part of why I want to flush anything out.
We are using here equipment that is a little bit more advanced than just phones. So what I'm doing now is I'm using 2 different apps to capture the signal, and what we are observing now here is we observe unknown Bluetooth devices. So there are several of them, several emissions coming up.
And if we go to radar, and then we go to the VLE app, and again we're picking up on the Bluetooth address. So we'll do, this is a retest for Chantal. We're picking up on unknown.
So I'm Chantal, you all came to Burton Hall, and I did a bit of research about the supplement and thought it would be interesting to try, so here I am.
And have you had COVID vaccinations?
Yes, 2.
So this is why we are doing it both ways. Our laptop using Linux is more sensitive. So in some cases, like in this one, as we see right now, the laptop picks it up, but the phone does not pick it up. And the more reliable source in this case will be the laptop, especially using Linux.
When did you have the COVID vaccine?
I think it was around 2 years ago. Yeah, I delayed the booster though. I think that was about 9 months after.
So this application can present the power signal in a graphical manner, because actually they use it when you lose your earbuds, and then you look for them. So this is the power of the signal, and the higher the graph goes, the more powerful the signal is. It means
this is how they're going to track and trace you. There's nowhere you're going to be able to go. You ain't going to be able to hide nowhere. Nowhere. This is why they just made it so welcoming about getting those V's. You saw earlier when the doctors was like, just get it. I'm a doctor. I'm this. Just get it. It saves lives. And because they knew they had to coach the people into getting it. That was the deception of it all. And then you had the little short doctor, I forget his name, that was working with Trump to push the vaccines. He was going from door to door in the black neighborhoods, telling people to get the vaccines, along with other black people, of course. This stuff is serious. They got you, boy. They got you because they got y'all so distracted and y'all ain't paying attention, nor are y'all believing anything.
That is comparatively close, this one. Can you please come closer? Yeah. Thank you. Let us see if you like really close. Now, do you see it on the? Can the camera catch this thing? You see? The power of the signal went up. So it varies because Bluetooth signal always jumps up and down. But if you can see now, if you compare this one with this one, it definitely went up. What has been discovered is that when a person is inside of a EMF, electromagnetic field, this triggers the Bluetooth signal. It activates the nanoparticles. And on a previous study, the Mexican study, they had 6 people. When they came without phones, only 2 people had signals. But when they came with phones turned on, no Bluetooth signal on, just Wi-Fi on and mobile data on, all of them had Bluetooth signals. So this is why we're going to give her now to hold phones, hopefully triggering this signal. That it has captured some signal.
Butter was crafted for professionals and home bakers who demand results.
God is using these people to try to expose what's going on, but sadly, people still won't listen.
Elevate your holiday baking.
Quick change fragrances make any space fragrant and inviting.
I've heard from some of the most amazing people that there's nothing more powerful in our world than an idea whose time has come.
When I had this little girl and I was aware of what was going on in the world, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to protect her. And so I would walk around on my property at night trying to figure out what I'm going to do so I didn't have to spend my later years watching her get eaten alive by this evil, corrupted world. I had a good partner of mine and I told him one day, we're going to make a product that's going to change all this.
It's not going to work, sir.
Not that I believe in divine intervention at all. I've been forced to challenge that belief now because of what's happened with this progression of Masterpiece. But lo and behold, one day I called Nano Labs looking for help because we were developing a formula and a product out of my camper, and it wasn't working. We were destroying a nano equipment called an ultrasonicating homogenizer, the titanium dioxide bit, and caught a gentleman who had been working on lipid nanoparticles his whole life. And he had NDAs with Pfizer and with Monsanto, and he was watching his whole life's work used to harm humanity in the COVID shots. And so when I told him I wanted to make a natural formula that was going to get the harmful things out, he, Michael Coe, who's the chief scientific officer at the time for Kansas State University and founder of Forest Biotech Nanolabs, who's used to working for millions of dollars, decided he was going to help little old me. He told me at the time he was going to do it for $10,000, which means he was going to reverse engineer some other products that were similar, other nanozeolite products, and he was going to help with getting the formula ready. And in the end, he ended up not allowing me to pay him. He said he was going to get paid back by watching people's body be able to heal themselves.
And he said that he'd like me to do some testing around it with blood analysis and with my microscope. And I said, well, that's all very well, but that's just qualitative analysis. We're going to get some pretty pictures, but we're not really going to get any details about the product or, you know, how this is working in people. I said, if you really want to drill down, I said, let's do some proper clinical studies on it with laboratory, third-party lab, you know, work to do with urine, hair, and blood. And we can do before and after people taking Masterpiece. I have been searching labs up and down the UK to ask whether anyone was testing for graphene oxide in the body. And the labs would tell me no. And I said, well, why not? And they said, well, because it's not in humans. So just fortuitously, I found a lab in Germany, IGL Labs at the time, and they were testing for environmental toxins, over 900 different environmental toxins, including graphene oxide. We ran a small pilot study of 3 people, and we did a baseline test of their blood, and this blood had to be taken and sent to Germany it has to be there within 48 hours, otherwise the blood can't be used. So there's a lot of, you know, critical timeline about taking the blood and getting it for this particular test. But when we got the baseline test results back for all 3 test subjects, we saw that everyone had high and very high levels of graphene oxide.
As we reported Tuesday, a new scientific study is shedding light on the particles that make up plastic water bottles. The study found a liter of bottled water could contain some 240,000 nanoplastics. Experts say those tiny pieces can break off and potentially enter our digestive tracts. We just also tested for polyethylene and polypropylene, 2 plastics, and 2 forever chemicals, PFOA and PFOS. And everyone's levels were high and very high. And then we ran the test again at the 35-day mark. And when the results came back, we could see that everyone had come down from the high and very high levels down to what we call the borderline level range now. The test subjects continued to take the product, and then we decided on the 90-day mark to redo the testing again. And when they all came back, they were now, you know, it had tracked down further, and everyone's levels were in the tolerable ranges. When we discovered that, you know, this product was really bringing down these levels, we rolled out another study, which was now a 24-person study, but with a placebo group. We also were including a lot of other environmental toxins, including, for example, atrazine, which is the hormone dysmorphia chemical. It's a herbicide.
When administered to male frogs, atrazine chemically castrates them and even causes some to change their sex entirely. In humans, atrazine is an endocrine disruptor. That means it causes changes to your natural hormonal balance. For newborn boys, atrazine exposure in utero is correlated with lower birth weight, undescended testicles, and deformities to sex organs.
In water, in the tap water being drunk in America, it's 0.03 parts per billion. It's higher than what was used in the study on the frogs. So it's just quite an interesting one when we're thinking about all this transgender and, you know, this movement going on.
Plan for them ahead of time because they're important. A celebration of life is no different. At Dignity Memorial, we listen to every detail and make sure everyone is remembered.
Dr. Stricker says Morgellons is linked to Lyme disease.
So these fibers that are seen in Morgellons patients, they're not some worms or, you know, or lint or, you know, something from outer space. What they are is they're fibers that are produced by the patient's own cells, and for some reason these patients with Lyme disease overproduce these fibers, and then they come up through the skin and cause these weird lesions. So the bacteria that causes Lyme is called a spirochete, transmitted by the bite of a tick. We've looked at a number of Morgellons patients. The last study, I think, had 25 patients that had skin lesions with fibers. All of the patients essentially had infection with the Lyme bacteria.
The way Morgellons worked is they dust you with it. It's smart dust. They call it smart dust, but it's Morgellons particles. And they put it in skin, sinks through.
I was talking about the dust earlier. It's called smart dust. And it's just the size of dust that can just fall on your skin, you know, and just like if you're walking throughout your house and, you know, it gets in your nasal passages and you swallow it. And this is why I say that they said that even if you didn't take the VVs, you know, even if you didn't take those shots, that people still have nanoparticles inside of their bodies. So their goal is to control everybody. And this is why I constantly say your only hope of getting out of what these people are doing is Jesus Christ. See, wherever the Holy Spirit resides, if the Holy Spirit resides on the inside of you, none of this stuff, according to the book of Psalms, shall come nigh your tent. It shall not come near your body. None of it. If it is, it won't affect you. So this is why it's important to know Jesus Christ. And if you truly know Jesus Christ, you have the Holy Spirit. And again, the Holy Spirit don't dwell in unclean places, using foul language, drinking, smoking, lying. He's not going to be somewhere where people are enemies against God. The Holy Spirit is not going to dwell there. So these people are using whatever they can to get those particles inside of you. And it is called smart dust. And they can spray it from the skies. It's just wild.
Skin, and then it's not replicating. So why not? Well, because your immune response is such that it keeps it dormant within the body. But what happens if your immune response is damaged? Now, how do you damage someone's immune? Oh, you damage the DNA. DNA, RNA, immune system is all connected. If you speak to virologists, they no, they're not. Well, of course they are.
It was absolutely abhorrent that they would even think of this, and they were pushed into this by Pfizer and all the people that Pfizer and Moderna wanted to get this into absolutely everybody. These were not vaccines. These were horrible gene therapies that could actually integrate into your genome. And this is one of the reasons we're seeing this horrendous rise in turbo cancers.
The graphene oxide spheres.
Turbo cancers.
Now, think about that, 10 to the minus 9 small. If you look at a football, you know, we blow it up. Look at a football. If you drill 92 holes in it, and then you have an antenna into the center of it, and then what they do is they load pathogens, you know, bacterial structures, all types of things like Marburg virus. I've seen cerebellar zoster come up a lot lately, which is chickenpox, but it goes straight into shingles. It doesn't seem to. Yeah, I've had a few people with the spots on their skin, but most of it has gone into shingles.
The burning pain of shingles makes you feel like your skin is on fire. It's caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox. Dr. Vandana Bidet says after you've had the chickenpox, the virus can live in your nervous system for years. No one's sure why it reappears, but the thought is if your immune system weakens because of illness or the aging process, the virus can reactivate and travel along your nerves to your skin, causing severe pain and blisters. The pain can happen days before the rash erupts. There's no cure, but medication may lessen symptoms and shorten suffering. A vaccine recommended for people aged 60 and over can help prevent shingles.
Each container is triggered at a different frequency. Now, when Morgellons was around before this vaccine, before the 5G, it was monitored by satellite, which is gigahertz frequency. I mean, now the 5G monitors it, you know, and the 5G is between 30 and 300 gigahertz. A microwave oven is what, 2.44 gigahertz, so you can see that it has high frequencies, and they can monitor, you know, you can monitor your whole body, even sexual activity, everything.
Brandy is an expert in this field. She is fighting on behalf of all of us.
Brain-computer interface are basically wearable devices, like your Oculus. You can wear a watch, and they will be able to read our thoughts. as well as send thoughts into our brain.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? With these wearable things that you all have, those watches and whatever wearables that people have, they can read your thoughts and they can send you thoughts. People thought I was crazy when I said I would never buy one of those, the Apple Watches. I remember they showcased the Apple Watches in the Jetsons. I'm like, these people are just showing you what they've been planning for ages. I say, I don't want that. I don't even want that, because that's a vital organ right where that watch sits. And just like you said, they can read your thoughts and they can send you thoughts. Keep thinking it's crazy.
Bodies and our brains are electrical, we're energy. So it's able to, the brain computer interfaces and the wearable devices are able to interact with our minds and pull our thoughts out of our brains and put them into a computer.
How does it do that?
The signals.
That what, like electromagnetic signals?
The frequencies, electromagnetic signals and frequencies, yes.
So, I mean, right now, does that technology already exist?
Yes, it does.
The idea is to create a situation in which the human body is connected to a hive mind. This is why we're seeing this incessant move towards a fusion between humans, the human body, the human brain, and artificial intelligence. Because at that point, and they're openly saying it, people like Ray Kurzweil, the so-called Google futurist, is saying that by 2030, this fusion will be happening, and once it's happened, artificial intelligence will do more and more of human thinking, these are his words, until human thinking as we know it is basically negligible. In other words, humans will think what AI thinks, and there will not be any human thought, individual thought, as we've known it.
The Word of God says that the fourth kingdom, which we are in right now, that they will try to merge iron and clay. Iron is technology, clay is human. And the Word of God says it doesn't mix. But see, they're going to try to do it anyway. Do y'all hear what these people are saying? Do y'all hear what these people are saying? It's time to start taking stuff serious. These people are going to turn you into cyborgs. They're not playing. I showed a video, I posted a video where they were celebrating the time when we would become cyborgs. Hybrids that can be controlled. It's not a game. It's time for y'all to start listening, man. Lord have mercy.
We merge with AI this way, we will become a hybrid species. We'll still be human, but we'll be enhanced by AI. Do you consider people who have cochlear implants, or pacemakers, or prosthetic limbs to be less alive? Of course not. These are early examples of merging with machines. Now, machines are going to continue to shrink in size and gain in power to the point where they are invisible and inside our bodies. As we merge with technology, we will no longer be limited by our biology. We'll be free to live life without limits.
Unique understanding of the importance of home. That's why we offer low rates on VA refinance loans. Because you worked hard for your home, and we'll help you work hard for you. See if you qualify at rocketmortgage.com.
We have over 22,000 quality pre-owned RVs.
I actually hate commercials because they make people think that this world is such a wonderful place and it's getting you comfortable while these people are destroying you.
when we were looking to do the next testing phase, we were waiting for IGL Labs to let us know when they were able to do that, because they had sent us a message to say that they were having technical problems with their equipment. So all the second date testing was delayed slightly. And then we got finally a message saying that they weren't going to be doing any more testing because the owner of the lab had suddenly died and they had stopped all testing at the lab. So obviously this was really disappointing for our study, but also it became obvious that for some reason this testing that they've been doing for the last, well, since 2009 was no longer going to be available. So this was like a real disappointment for humanity, because there's no other lab around the world that was testing for graphene oxide.
We'll be able to actually tell what's going on in our neocortex. You don't have to interface with the entire neocortex. The neocortex is like a pyramid. At the very top, you've got the key ideas. That's where you need to connect to. You don't need to, right now you can do that with surgery, but you'll be able to do that without surgery by sending things that can sense the neocortex through the bloodstream. There's experiments with that, but that'll happen in the 2030s.
Okay, he just said that this thing that Elon Musk is trying to do by putting chips in the brain, where he talking about you got to do surgery. This man just said surgery is no longer necessary. They can put it through your bloodstream. How you think they're going to get it in your bloodstream? When CVS is sending you texts and telling you to get your vaccines, get your flu vaccines, get your shingles vaccines, get the measles vaccines. This is how they're putting it in your bloodstreams. Don't take none of those vaccines. I'm so glad my mother is gone. I am. True enough, I'm going to see her again. I believe that she's in heaven. But my mom was big on taking the flu vaccine. After they took the medicine out of 3/6s that would help you get rid of the flu, they took the medicine out. I forgot the name of it. But they took that medicine out. So my mom started going and getting vaccine, the flu vaccine. She would go with her and my sister Shirley. And I'm so glad my mother is gone, because I don't have to worry about trying to convince her not to take any of these vaccines that these people are giving. This man just said that's how they're going to put the technology inside of your body. They're going to put it in your bloodstream via those vaccines.
So we'll actually merge with it. We won't actually carry all the AI with us, so we'll go to nearest cloud. I mean, this is actually not that intelligent unless it interfaces with the cloud, and that's where it gets all of its intelligence. And cloud can be actually very secure. We use encryption that's virtually unbreakable. So your thoughts will actually go to the cloud. There'll be AI there. It will be as if it's in your mind, but you'll be connecting to it through the cloud. And the cloud will be much more sophisticated than it is today. It's not going to get down as much and so forth.
Mad scientist.
I think that it's vital that people are on the case, exploring and investigating ways that this technology, this nanotechnology, can be eliminated from the body.
Caroline and Manu are meeting their test subjects 1 month after the first test day. They've been on 10 drops a day.
I'm enabling now both the inner adapter of the laptop and the outer adapter. Okay, so this is what we got. So we got here 3 signals.
Same as the apple.
The same as apple, yeah. Very close. Can we? Can you actually get up and stay next to her?
Yeah, okay.
But stay for a while. Let's say half a minute or to see if there is any change in the signal. Or
It's just hovering around. How much have you got of the masterpiece left?
Probably about that much left.
Okay, would you mind continuing to take it? Yeah. I'll give you another bottle. Same continuation for a month, and then we'll do a retest.
Sure, was it different at all today?
Still picking up on something.
Okay, right.
when she left the field, all of the signals went away. So now we definitely can say these signals are connected with this subject.
And then the thing is, even with this medication that they're trying to come out with, you don't know what this medication is actually doing to the body. The gentleman that started it, he said he don't believe in divine intervention. That means he said he don't believe in God. There's not going to be a medication that's going to take this stuff out of your bodies. It's not. It's not. Again, your only hope is Jesus Christ.
When he walks forward and back, the signal, there will be differences in the power of the signal.
Would you mind continuing to take Masterpiece for another month? Mm-hmm. Is that okay? Yeah.
So still just one signal?
Still one signal.
So one less.
One less, because there was two last time, wasn't there? Which is true, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we're still picking up on the signal. So it may be that you need to take Masterpiece for a little bit longer. Would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, well, right now. I actually feel better on it, so I don't.
You feel better on it? Okay, that's good.
What are you face?
I would say, basically, I had a lot of problems with sleep for like a long time, and that was the first thing that kind of like changed it.
I mean, why do you think people that had COVID, which was a bioweapon, why do you think people that had COVID or either that received those injections, why do you think people lost their sense of taste and their sense of smell? That was an experimental drug. And then if you look years later, they're beginning to say that the drug actually is causing heart diseases and turbo cancers. What I mean by turbo cancers is real fast. You go and get tested today, and the next day it's all throughout your body if you don't get it caught fast enough. So why do you think Trump has invested over $500 billion into cancer vaccines? Because when people start getting cancer from these vaccines, then he's got the solution. Here's another vaccine to stop the cancer that we actually put inside of your body. These people are wicked. These people are demonic. I hate these commercials.
Get 3 months free of Amazon Music Unlimited.
There's a negative oxidation reduction potential of around minus 90 millivolts, meaning it's alkaline and rich in free electrons. This electron doning effect helps to electrically support the cells, similar to walking bare feet on the earth and absorbing electrons from the ground. It provides an antioxidant-like boost by helping neutralize free radicals. Never known the product to be critiqued quite as much as Masterpiece. But when you look at the actual attacks, they're very odd. So during the COVID times, a lot of people went out and bought compound microscopes, and they were looking at things under the microscope. And initially, I thought, well, this is great. People doing all this sort of ground research at ground level. I thought it was a really good thing. But the trouble is that I've been doing live blood analysis for 25 years. I'm trained in looking at blood. I'm not trained in materials microscopy, looking at products under a microscope. That's a whole different training. But I myself was beginning to look at products under the microscope more from just an eye of interest, because you can't quantify anything by looking at products using a compound microscope.
With the Bluetooth signals still being in the body, Masterpiece also has to deal with other criticisms. Dr. Anita Baxas expresses her concerns in the podcast called Truth, Science and Spirit.
Let me ask you this. Those of you who took those vaccines, did you know that you had Bluetooth signals in your body? I mean, have you even looked into it? Again, earlier in this video, this gentleman's, he got an accent. You couldn't hardly hear him. I guess you could understand him. But he said there's a way that you can go to your phone in the settings and you can actually look, and it just shows the number of people that actually took the vaccines, and they have a MAC address. But did you all check that? Those of you who took the vaccine, did you look into that to see if you have a MAC address, to see if you have see if you are Bluetooth compatible? Oh my God.
Okay. This particular product said it has marine plasma in it, and we all know oceans are polluted like crazy. So I wanted to know, does it contain toxic metals? And the lab I used usually tests urine, blood, hair, and stool, and not really substances. So I had to use some subterfuge to get that tested. So I took a urine sample, sent that in, and I took part of that same urine sample and mixed it 50-50 with that product and sent it in as well. And on the left, we see just the toxic metals found in urine. There are quite a few, but not very high levels. And then on the right side, we see what was found in that 50-50 mix, and they are literally off the charts.
The response of the Masterpiece team is that testing a urine sample for heavy metals when the sample is actually seawater would yield results that are not representative of human exposure. That would be highly misleading. The high mineral content and different chemical matrix would cause severe analytical interference and render the instrument's calibration useless. The test used was a toxic metals urine analysis, carried out by a leading laboratory that analyzes human urine samples, not products. Submitting a product sample such as seawater or a mineral-rich solution would therefore produce data that is unreliable and not scientifically valid. Any professional laboratory, once informed that the sample was not urine, would be required to reject it, as analyzing it would constitute method misuse and make the results invalid under official accreditation standards, since the method is validated solely for human urine.
The product goes through a facility that has a certificate of analysis for both incoming ingredients, for the clinoptilolite and for the sea minerals. And then before the end product goes out, there's another certificate that is put together to show that it's clean. So they're looking at things like, bacteria and heavy metals, and because somebody had also said that it's Masterpiece is full of uranium. Well, that's certainly not the case. It wouldn't get out of the facility if that was the case.
Butter was crafted for professionals and home bakers who demand results. Slow churned with 82% butter fat, Bluegrass delivers richer flavor, creamier texture, and consistent outcomes. Elevate your holiday baking.
Place Masterpiece under a dark field microscope, you can actually see the larger zeolite crystals and clusters in the micron and submicron size, lighting up like tiny Christmas tree lights. Dark field causes these crystalline structures to refract the light, so they appear as bright, shimmering points drifting across the slide. It's actually a beautiful way to visualize natural clinoptillar light itself. So most of the zeolite in Masterpiece is far smaller than anything a standard microscope can capture. The true nano-sized particles in Masterpiece are completely invisible in dark field. That's why they rely on high-resolution transmission electron microscopy. Dr. Robert Young has imaged these particles down to the low nanometer range, and this is where we see the real architecture of zeolite Z. The cage-like structure fully intact and coated in the sea mineral layer. These images also show how the negatively charged zeolite cage can capture graphene oxide quantum dots, drawing them into its structure through electrostatic attraction. I myself, I've looked at cobwebs under the microscope, and I have found very strange fibres that look like Morgellons type fibres. When you breathe on them, they'll start to move, a bit like those fibres that we're finding in the masks during COVID. So we know that in the environment, people are picking up on these strange anomalies, and also in rainwater. There is a scientist in Norway who's been looking at rainwater for many years, and he says it's been there for some time. So they have been doing this geoengineering, spraying us with all this nanotechnology. There's been a lot of people out there looking at things under microscopes and then setting up, Substack pages and making a whole business out of doing what they're doing and gathering a lot of followers and feeding into the fear around all the nanotechnology and making claims. Now, a lot of these microscopists, obviously, they're not doing their work in a sterile lab. They have no training in material microscopy, so they don't really understand what they're looking at. And they may be taking a lead from, there's been a few active doctors online who have been saying that you're looking at blood and looking at products and making claims that it has hydrogel or polymer fibers or nanotech in it. Now, I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't correct, because we know that through geoengineering, there's nanofibers and nanoparticles that we're breathing in that apparently can go into the pores of our skin, and this is potentially another way of entry for us, besides looking at the COVID shots, and we know what's in the water and the food being mucked around with as well. So there's a potentiality that these slides in people's home offices could be contaminated from the air. They're not working in a sterile environment. So as interesting as it is to be looking at what people are posting, there's no quantifiable evidence, there's no other testing that's done to show that actually the compounds are what they say they are.
Now, I mentioned earlier that whether you took the vaccines or not, that these particles, they're saying, these particles will be inside of everybody's bodies because of what they have been spraying, because of the food, because of the water, the dust, the smart dust that they're spraying. These particles will be inside of every human being, including the people who are doing it. Now, they don't mind the particles being inside of them because, again, they're looking forward to the day when they will become cyborgs, where human and machine will come together, the singularity as they call it. They're looking forward to that. But the thing is, they're gonna, when they click on that 6G, that's when they're gonna be able to control the people, and they'll be able to, just like they said, put thoughts into your mind. They could be able to read your thoughts. And this is another reason why I think that the suicide rate is going to go up, because they could tell you that, give you a thought saying that this is God telling you to commit suicide. You just don't know how this stuff is going to be. This is why the Lord tells us to come out of her. A friend of the world is an enemy of God, because God knows what these people are doing. And see, we don't know. We don't know. We can't see what God sees, but God knows that it is in our best interest to listen to him. If he says, come out of this world, if he says, separate yourself, then we should do it, because see, God knows what these people are doing. He knows the plans of the evildoers. And very soon, I believe very soon, probably in 2026, they're going to switch to 6G. And that's when they're going to flick it on, and they'll have control of everybody. And again, they said very soon, the smartphones will be obsolete. Why? Because they already have the technology on the inside of the people.
We're further challenged because through that work and through that study, we came across a gentleman named Jesse Beltran. Jesse Beltran, for the last 15 years, had been traveling the world and measuring thousands of people. What's known as the Havana syndrome.
Havana syndrome refers to a set of unexplained medical symptoms first reported in late 2016 by US and Canadian diplomats and intelligence personnel stationed in Havana, Cuba.
And this is typically the spot that we find. Yeah. So that's a positive hit there.
Affected individuals describe suddenly experiencing unusual sensations, often a loud or piercing sound, followed by symptoms such as headaches, dizziness or vertigo, nausea, difficulty concentrating, vision or hearing problems.
Okay, now they said this Havana syndrome was in 2016. Of course, we know that was before the COVID pandemic. But I believe that these people have been, again, spraying and putting these nanoparticles in our food. And just like with these people that had the so-called Havana syndrome, I believe they turned on the switch so these people can have these symptoms. They've been placing these particles, the smart dust, all of this stuff in our food and our water. They've been doing it for ages. But see, now they have the technology set up and they're trying to, sample it on people to see how it's working. And this Havana syndrome, I believe they flipped the switch and a lot of people were affected by it. So they've been doing this far before COVID. But see, they use the vaccines in order to get a lot of people bodies filled with the technology.
And sleep disturbances.
What we are picking up are RF emissions that should not be emanating at specific focal points around the human body. When we were scanning prior to the COVID event, we were pulling out biosensors or non-consensual implants out of individuals, and those are the lucky ones. After COVID, there was an increase in symptomatic individuals coming to us asking for help. And typically prior to COVID, we were finding 8 to 10 on the high side areas that were lining up at specific focal points around the human body.
That's what I was talking about.
After COVID, the average now is between 12 and 13 on minimum. So it's just about 100%. Our hypothesis is that whatever was in those jabs or the hydrogel and the PCR testing or in the anesthetics, which all the studies are showing, there's this nanotech in it.
Now you notice he said the testing. Like they was telling people, get your test. They were shipping the test out to people. You get free COVID tests. You get the test. Those tests, whenever you do the test on yourself, you were putting that stuff inside of your bodies and didn't even know it. These people are evil.
How do you get rid of something that's 50 nanometers in size?
Did I mention how much I hate commercials?
Get 3 months free of Amazon Music.
Look, make y'all think everything is fun and, just everything is just so joyous.
We have over 22,000 quality pre-owned RVs in stock, featuring top brands like Jayco, Forest River, Grand Design, Keystone, Thor Motor Coach, Brinkley, and more. Browse the full assortment at campingworld.com today.
General population, and they are turning up positive in the same exact locations as the symptomatic individuals. And so our belief right now is, going with the data, that the symptomatic individuals are turned on and the non-symptomatics have not been turned on yet. And we have articles and information that has been fed to us that this is all frequency based, and we know it's frequency based because we're detecting the frequencies, particularly RF, that when the 6G comes into fruition, that the majority of the population will be turned back on.
Did you hear it? Just like I said with the Havana syndrome, they were turning on and they could turn off because they knew who they had put that stuff in. And just like he said, when the 6G comes on, they're going to be able to turn people on and off. Telling what kind of thoughts you're going to be having, what kind of sicknesses and illnesses you're going to be having. But 6G is going to be a beast.
Analyzed the 6 brands that were sold in Argentina that were injected into people. And we also analyzed the dengue and flu vaccines, the ones shown there, as well as saline solutions and dental anesthetic. There you have the complete table of the 10 chemical elements and how many particles from each brand contain these elements. Silicon, which I forgot to mention, and cerium, which I also forgot to mention. Among them, those marked with a star are heavy metals.
We know that there are patents that show that this can be dispersed through our food. And because we have been testing individuals who live in very remote areas, who have never had a vaccine, who don't see the doctor, and live a very organic lifestyle, although they are coming up positive in less locations, like 2 to 3, they're still coming up positive. And so the indication is this is probably being sprayed as well. On May 8th of 2024, Colonel Greg Egren testified before U.S. Congress, the Department of Homeland Security, that this phenomenon is happening on every continent with the exception of Antarctica. We now know, and we have individuals that are complaining of the same symptoms in Antarctica, so this is happening on a global basis.
Today is the 3rd filmed test day, 6 weeks after the 2nd filmed test day, and the scientists and test subjects are in for somewhat of a surprise.
How have you been on the 15 drops twice a day?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to stopping the saltiness.
Oh, it is quite salty.
Yeah.
You can see the screen, but we have here
nothing.
This is how it should be. This is how it should be.
This is amazing. It's clear. It's not picking up on anything. Oh, wow. So this was from the increased dosage as well. 15 drops twice a day. Wow. We're very happy with the series.
It's incredible.
Okay.
This is incredible.
15 drops twice a day? How expensive is that going to be? Better come to Jesus.
Have you taken more drops this second round?
Yeah.
How many did you take?
So instead of taking 5 and 5, I've been taking 15 and
No, it doesn't capture either. With this one, it doesn't capture either. Once again. So no devices. Start it again for another, it goes on for 30 seconds. It scans for 30 seconds. And we'll try with your phone as well. Okay. And I'll do it once again then on the laptop to see. No, it doesn't capture here this either.
There.
Alright.
Yeah. No signals.
No signal.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So your signal has switched off with 15 drops twice a day.
Now we don't pick up on anything. Nothing till now, even with the pulse next to her body. And what was this? Yeah.
This is very beautiful. I can't see anything.
Yeah, this is
a clear screen for the first time ever. Testing you.
Hey, Charlie!
Well, let's see. I think we've just done strike or home run.
I'm going to show the screen, and it is nothing there. Nothing. There's nothing on the screen. This is how it should look like. Nothing.
How beautiful. Is it clear?
Wow.
Nothing coming up. So let me just go to radar.
Nothing. Yeah. This is new.
Well, this came to you. So we just finished testing the 4 test subjects. All of them, no MAC addresses. Your intuition was right though. 15 drops twice a day. Nailed it.
There is a product out there, and I've been very staunch on not supporting anything out there unless there was data to support that it works. Volcanic activity just meets the sea, and these are typically in blue zones. And it's natural, Mother Earth makes it, and it's negatively charged. And what the studies are showing is those who are taking the Masterpiece or Zeolite Z, that the graphene, which is in the nanotech, substantially reduced at levels that were very minimal in comparison to the general population.
Step instructions. Do it once, share forever. Get Scrap.
Theories about consciousness, but they tend to divide into 2 camps. Those who feel that consciousness is something that is produced by the brain. And alternatively, and this is the one I favor, is that we are antennae for pure consciousness. And in fact, consciousness passes through us, filters through us, and allows us to experience these dimensions. The baby is coming from another dimension. And this is the pure consciousness. This is the pure human antenna.
It's absolutely vital that people with that kind of mind and knowledge and expertise focus their attention on how to eliminate this stuff from the body. But the other way you can do it is by your consciousness overriding it. Because consciousness is far more powerful than nanotechnology, but only when it's in its pomp and it's in its power, not when it's suppressed and subordinate.
Is there somewhere within you a memory of before all this? No phones, no jabs, no technology, no big pharma. Some of you watching this film were of the generation of kids playing outside all day until the streetlights came on. There was a time we lived so much more simply with the gifts that nature bestowed on us. Flow, silence, organic creation, music, simple joys. soul creativity, working alongside with and in collaboration with the planet. It's not too late. We can still choose an organic future. What do you wish for the generations to come? Your choice and action matters.
I believe their heart is in the right place, but then again, a lot of these people like David Icke and the guy who's actually helping to make this medicine, they don't believe in God. So what they're trying to do is get you to put your faith and your trust in man. Again, I believe their hearts are in the right place, but your only hope is Jesus Christ. Because I honestly believe, like with a lot of these mass killings and shootings and school shootings and, you know, all of these different things, when they talk to a lot of those people who do these things, they say that they were hearing voices. And I honestly believe that it's because of the technology that is inside of these people's bodies. These people, for a long time, they have been able to speak to people via computer because of the technology that's inside their bodies, and they can hear voices and sounds. And they would tell them, you know, you keep hearing it over and over, go and kill and go and kill. And I honestly believe, you can call it crazy if you want, but I honestly believe that these people are doing that. And for those of you who just refuse to listen, let me tell you something. Once they come out with that 6G, it's going to be something terrible. I believe people are going to see people acting in a way that they have never seen before. So again, I'm just going to break this video down because it's like an hour and 21, maybe an hour and 22 minutes. I got to break it down because it won't allow me to post that on Facebook. And I just pray that you all will listen. I do. I mean, like, what is it going to take? You know, I'm not mad about what they're doing because the Bible already says they're going to do it. The Bible said that they were going to try to mix iron and clay. So I'm not mad with them, but I'm mad at the people who refuse to listen. Again, these commercials, and they talk about the holidays and traveling, and they got the families running and laughing and playing, and with the dogs, they deceiving you. This is why I hate commercials. I hate television altogether because it got y'all so distracted y'all can't focus on what these people are doing. So, take care.